I don't want to do them, but I guess I have to. Yep. San Francisco 49ers 2023 roster grades. I just don't want to do them because they freaking suck. But I have to, so let's go. 49ers 2023 roster grades. Hope you guys don't enjoy this because I hate their team. Just let's go. Welcome back to Fun and Love, of course. Please like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed these San Francisco 49ers 2023 roster grades. Obviously, if you didn't know, I am a Rams fan, and I do not like the 49ers at all. Kind of like that. So, there will be some bias in this grade. I'll be honest, though. They are a good team. I respect them, even though I don't. But, yeah. We got the 49ers 2023 roster grades. Obviously, they have the quarterback. It's kind of a mess there, obviously. But the rest of their team's pretty good. But, yeah, let's go. Starting out with, I don't know, maybe Brock Purdy. Here we go. 49ers 23 quarterbacks. Here we go. And of course, for the Niners at quarterback, it's kind of a mess. But if you didn't know, ever since what is it called? Kyle Shanahan's become the head coach of the 49ers. Other than maybe the start of 2017, every quarterback's basically fit. It's kind of what it's been like. Obviously, the rest of the team's really good. His scheme's pretty good. He's still probably the most overrated coach. But whatever. First off, Brock Purdy obviously shattered his elbow in that NFC Championship. And to be honest, it's pretty simple with him. He is kind of like, I don't know. So you have Jimmy G. He's like gonna win you games. He's gonna be solid. Gonna be pretty average. But Brock, he can put a little bit of a bigger ceiling on the 49ers offense, but also can lower the floor because it's pretty simple with him. He has decent creativity when it comes to making plays. He's not even nearly as. There's a reason he was Mr. Irrelevant. It's kind of simple. One, he has like D arm strength. He does not have a good arm. Also, he just, I don't know. And like his footwork is inconsistent. It's kind of like he kind of has like antsy feet. It's not great. And then ants in his pants basically. And then the third thing that really makes him why he went as the last pick in the draft and almost undrafted was the fact that pretty simple. He can run, yes, but it's not like he can run super well, and even then, like, it's just not great there. Like, yeah. So he's just not that athletic. But he does bring the leadership aspect. He can read defenses somewhat well. I'll give him that. Like on film, if you watch his stripe of summit, he does go through his progressions pretty well. It's like he's a very good program quarterback like that. Again, last year, pretty good numbers. Obviously, 8.1, not adjusted, but decent there. He does hold on the ball way too long at some points, though. I'll give him that as well. But overall, I think he'll be fine if he plays. He just doesn't have a good arm, and with that elbow injury, you never know. It could be even worse. Sam Darnold, on the other hand, again, outside of Brock Purdy, they got 2 number 3 picks. First off, Trey Lance. He looked pretty awful in his one actual real start, like first career actual start. Like, forget about 2021, but his first actual first start, he was pretty awful. And then he played a little bit against the Seahawks and looked decent. But really hasn't got a good chance. Again, absolutely, like, destroyed his foot in that game against the Seahawks. But really hasn't gotten a fair chance to start yet. I think he should be their quarterback. I want him to be. But he's probably not going to be the guy. Sam Darnold, on the other hand, I mean, he's probably going to be their backup. Like, he's not supposed to be starting. Last year, though, other than that one game, I think it was against, who that was against? The Bucs, maybe, that one game against the Bucs. He actually was pretty good most of the season. So, really good bounce back after a horrible 2021. And yeah, that's kind of what you get with him. Sam Darnold, I mean, he's a decent quarterback. I think he'll win you some games. But at this point, he's kind of like a good backup. That's what I got with him. And obviously, Brandon Allen's here again. Really hasn't shown anything since that a couple game end of the season in 2020, but he ain't the worst quarterback either. Overall, I mean, it's kind of a mess at the quarterback position for the 49ers, but someone's going to figure it out, I guess. Please be Trey Lance. Please, please, please. And for the 49ers, I'll give them a C- at quarterback. It's pretty simple. Brock Purdy, I expect to be okay when he plays, but that elbow injury, I mean, his arm was already his shot, and the fact that he doesn't have a good arm to start out with just concerns me a little bit. And Trey Lance, again, we haven't really gotten to see him. He's like literally a ghost man. And Sam Darnold's a backup. So they got quarterbacks, but it's kind of a mess. Like, worst case, there's a good chance all the quarterbacks are going to play good, well, because it's kind of hard to mess up in Kyle Shanahan's system. But at the same point, if you need them to make a big throw, I don't know if any of those guys can do it. So, C- is what I got to give them. That comes out to about 20 points. I mean, they've got guys, but it's, again, if you have one quarterback, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but if you have more than one quarterback, you don't even have quarterback. So, if you haven't heard that saying, it's probably butchered it. But whatever, let's get to the running back position again. CMC's backfield. Here we go. So the difference between the when CMC was in Carolina and now when he's in San Francisco is the fact that he's got good backups and he won't be getting 80,000 touches a game. It's pretty simple. CMC had his first healthy season since 2019, and he really didn't have a ton. I mean, like a bunch of touches. Yeah, he had like what was it? Yeah, he had a barely over 200. I mean, when you put it all together, he had a lot of touches. But let's see, 52. What was that? Is that 33, 52, 33, 85, 59. So he had 330 total touches with both teams, but on the 49ers, he wasn't asked to do as much. Again, really good season last year overall. He's probably back to being the best overall running back in the league. He is a 4-down running back. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. You can put him on down ever. Even on punt return, he's not terrible. So, I mean, he's really good. So, you keep that in mind. CMC, probably the best well-rounded back in Jacksonville, but again, he still has that massive injury risk on him. It's going to be on him his whole career because he had a stretch between 2020 and 2021 where he really wasn't playing at all. Injury after injury. Thank God none of them were major injuries. I mean, the one after that Week 10 game against Kansas City in 2020, that was a major injury. But other than that, it wasn't like he's torn an ACL or anything like that. It's really just been foot issues and some hamstring stuff. So, yeah, it's nothing huge. But CMC for sure has that injury tag. That's exactly why they still have Elijah Mitchell, who also has an injury tag. But when he's on the field, he's a freaking tank. I mean, he's a monster of a back. He's really good. As well, Jordan Mason, he can, honestly, he's more of a straight line runner, but he can, when you need him to hit a hole, he can, has very good vision. Tyron Davis-Price, I really haven't gotten to see much of him. He was pretty bad on the minimal carries he got, but he is a good pass blocker for them, which I think is like, so they've got like 3 backs that I'm pretty confident in, but again, pretty good depth in this back, but Tyron Davis-Price, again, does give him some versatility as well, so the fact that, like, again, CMC getting hurt isn't the end of the world for them, because they still have backs, and again, any back, other than, I guess, Tyron Davis-Price last year, for the Niners, is going to be good in Kyle Shanahan's system. I mean, they freaking put out JaMychal Hasty, even he was good. I mean, he was good with the Jags last year, but whatever. Back on topic, pretty good 49ers running back room, to say the least. Even without CMC, they still have a good running back room. Nothing against CMC, but it's probably still like a B or B minus running back room. Just for the fact that Kyle Shanahan just knows how to use running backs. So, it's obviously going to be an A+. Kyle Juszczyk in there as well. I mean, he's getting older, but it's the best running back room in the league because not only do they have good talent there, but it's Kyle Shanahan. He runs it like a freaking he runs it like a machine. So that's it. You can't get much better. Again, CMC, just having him and having him in his healthiest every single down is something you're just not going to get out of any other team. 36 total points though. Time for the wide receiver position. Okay, 49ers wide receiver core. They've really got continuity. 3rd straight year that most of these guys are really getting starts. First off, Debo. He's not that great of a receiver. His route running is meh. But again, he's probably the best yak receiver in the league, outside of maybe Cooper Kupp. But he's a running back playing receiver. Again, his hands are meh. He's fast though, and he does have some pretty good agility in terms of like and staying with the same efficiency on routes. But again, he is just not a great route runner. Maybe not loose, but they're kind of choppy with Debo. So his route running, his catching, he's not a great refined receiver, but I mean, he can make a move once in a while. He does create some separation, but again, he's more of a yak receiver, and he's not going to catch bombs. Let me put it like that. Brandon Ayuk, though, he's definitely their best overall receiver last year. He got a pretty good amount of healthy dose of targets, and he was really good with them. Really good at running that slant that Kyle Shanahan basically just puts on every single route. It's more of a crosser. Again, like Debo, he's not the greatest route runner, but his routes are nice and sharp, and he's honestly the most efficient route runner last year. He was that good. But again, he still does struggle against man-to-man sometimes, but off play action, he might be one of the best receivers in the league. He runs his routes really well. So, I do like Brandon Ayuk a lot. Juwan Jennings, more of their physical type of receiver. He didn't have a great year last year, to be honest. He did struggle to gain separation. Again, 2021 was really again, his rookie year, where he was that big, reliable guy. But he is a guy who can make plays downfield, and that's something that they need with him. Again, they really don't have a true slot. Brandon Ayuk has a pretty small, I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty small route tree. It's not very diverse, but the routes he runs are better than any in the league. So, yeah. Ray McLeod, pretty good run after catch guy. All these guys, other than maybe Juwan Jennings, are good there. Danny Gray, even, I wouldn't be mad if you gave him the ball. I mean, he didn't make many plays last year, but he's very good at SMU. Chris Conley is a deep threat. I wouldn't be surprised if they used him. Ronnie Bell, of course, out of Michigan, was their #1 receiver. He's okay. He definitely does struggle against man-to-man press, though, to be honest. So, overall, they get even Willie Snead, who, again, was a #2, even #1 at some points with the Ravens, isn't great. But outside of maybe, they have like 6 good receivers. Like, again, a couple of these guys are washed, but it's overall pretty good receiving core. One way or another, Debo's a valuable asset for that receiving core, and again, just the fact that you've got Brandon Ayuk there who runs the best slants underneath, stuff like that, and even maybe even in routes. So I'll give them a B for the receiving core. Again, it's not like they have like an elite, like they don't have a great like true receiver on the team, because like I like Brandon Ayuk a lot, but he really runs like 2 routes. It's kind of like that. I'm sorry. Like, people overlook the fact that he really just runs a crosser, whether it's short, medium, or deep, and a freaking slant. That's kind of what you get with him. And it's not bad, but it's not great. And again, you have Debo and John Jennings. So that comes out to 9, 18, 24 points for this receiving core. Time for the tight end position. George Kittle time. He's still the, in my opinion, George Kittle is still the best second best tight end in the league. Again, he got hurt last year, but he had a freaking 11 touchdowns. It's really good. Yet, just maybe not as productive as he was in the past. Again, his best year was 2018, but since then, again, 2020, he struggled a lot with injuries, but he was on pace to having like 1,200 yards. 2021 was really good. Last year, though, again, just didn't have as many targets, though, but he was such a good big blocker for them. He was honestly better than Trent Williams in run blocking last year. I'm not even kidding. He was phenomenal. He was a phenomenal run blocker last year. Like, best of his career. It's like crazy great. But again, wasn't as productive in the receiving game. They're still using him the same type of way, though. Very valuable for this team. One of the best, again, second best tight end in the league. Outside of that, though, Cameron Latou, out of our Alabama 3rd-round pick, another really good run blocker. The only problem with him is he really only can make one big play, maybe a game. I mean, he's got some pretty decent skills when it comes to, like, overall just making big plays, because, again, it's kind of what you got with him. But his run blocking could, I mean, it's decent, but again, when you go max protect, you do not want him having the pass block. We have Cameron Latou. He will be on their field, kind of that like receiving threat outside of George Kittle, obviously. Charlie Warner, I mean, to be honest, didn't really see a lot of him last year. I haven't seen a lot of him since, I don't know, 2020 maybe. But he just hasn't really got much playing time. Ross Dwelly actually has gotten some playing time, though, for sure. Getting that 1 touchdown. He's a decent blocker, but the reason he hasn't played as much is because, again, he's just not going to be like as big of a factor as, say, Cameron Latou, who they drafted. He's a really interesting prospect, to be honest. Let's get right to the 49ers. What's called tight end grade. So Cameron Latou, who I do think is a really good raw run blocker, just isn't really good at setting the edge. And I do think that's going to be a problem with him on the field. But I didn't like the pick in the first place because, again, he really only had 1 catch his whole college career, which isn't great. But, again, he is pretty athletic. George Kittle, though, keeps them at an A. When you're the second best tight end in the league, it's kind of hard for me to not give them that A. I mean, you could say, oh, it's like, what the heck is Darren Waller? But the difference between Darren Waller and him is he's the best, arguably the most best run blocker. He's probably, other than offensive lineman, he's the best run blocker in the league for sure. So that's an A. Like, it's hard to beat. Yeah, injuries, but I'm willing to ignore that for now. Like, again, and even then, like, the backups aren't terrible either. 6, 12, 18. That comes out to 22 points for that tight end. It's not an A+, because, again, it's just, the depth is just not there right now, but still George Kittle. A is what I got. Time for this offensive line. Okay, this offensive line is a weird group, because outside of Colin Mabakevitz, I think this offensive line is good. First off, Spencer Burford, not great in run blocking, but as a rookie last year out of UTSA, he was rock solid in the run game. Jake Brendel, very solid center. That's kind of what I got from him. I mean, he's not Daniel Brunskill, but he's decent. And that's in a couple ways. And then Aaron Banks, of course, out of Notre Dame a couple years ago. He's been pretty good his whole career. I mean, he was replaced Laken Tomlinson last year. He might not have been as good as Laken Tomlinson was in 2021, but Aaron Banks is still a good player. So he was PFF grade, which is pretty solid. At that 62.7, again, he wasn't great in run blocking like you might have expected him to, but he's pretty good. And even then, you freaking got Trent Williams, who is the best offensive lineman in the league. Like, you can't beat him. And then again, Colin Mabakevitz, who he played a little guard. He's a little jack of all trades for an offensive lineman. Really doesn't do anything particularly well, but pass blocking wise, he's really good at keeping guys off the edge. Matt Pryor, older dude. He's okay. Yeah. Okay, I guess he works. Jason Poe, not gonna lie, haven't seen much of him at Mercer at the UDFA, but I have heard a couple good things about his technique, so that's good. John Feliciano, again, veteran center, not a bad backup there. Nick Zekiji out of Fordham, never heard of this dude. I didn't know they drafted him, not gonna lie. And then Jalen Moore, who actually was pretty good last year. I would not be surprised if he does take the spot from Colin Mabakevitz at one point this year. If this loads. Yeah, he was pretty solid last year. Yeah, he gave up 2 sacks, but he shut down, he shut down some pretty good pass rushers last year. And overall, I mean, the other guys kind of just bums at this point, but this depth, it's not great. It's probably around average, but, I mean, yeah, other than Colin Mabakavich, I think the rest of this offensive line is pretty solid. I don't know how these three dudes, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, and Aaron Banks, have all figured it out, but they have. That's what I got with this offensive line, guys. Just the fact that Trent Williams is there, I gotta give them a B. I mean, their run blocking is so good. It is because of Kyle Shanahan, I'm not gonna lie, but it's not like it's like, here's the thing. Aaron Banks, Spencer Burford, and who the heck was the other guy? I literally just went brain dead. Who's their center? Jake Brendel. Spencer Burford, I mean, he's just not great in pass protection, but he's rock solid in the run game. And then the fact that Aaron Banks and Jake Brendel are both pretty good. Just the fact that they don't have Colin Mabakavich is there, and their depth is okay. I like that. But again, the real difference is Trent Williams. He's the best tackle in the league. I mean, you can't argue with that. But again, the rest of the offensive line is kind of meh. But again, just the fact that Colin Mabakavich is there is just not great. But their depth is okay. Again, Trent Williams does elevate every single offensive line. If he went to every single team, he'd elevate it a lot. So, B is what I got to give him. Outside of that, though, again, it's not like the strongest group, but again, Trent Williams is there. And the interior works out. So, that comes out to, 16 points to this offensive line. Time for the overall offensive grade. This 49ers offense has 118 points, which gives them a B, but I've got to give them a B+, because at the end of last year, their offense was probably the best in the league, I'm not going to lie. And not only that, though, their run game will always be really good. And again, worst case scenario at quarterback, you're throwing slants off play action. It's kind of like that with that. So, just the offense overall is always going to be solid, but the fact they do have the same amount, like, basically the same team is really good. And then the offense line, yeah, Colin Mabakavich isn't good. Michael Glinchey having him now is just not as great. But their depth in the offense line is actually better than it was last year. And overall, I think this offense it seems like to be a little more there's more continuity than there was last year. So I gotta give them the B+. It's a pretty good offense, not gonna lie there. That's what I got there, guys. Time for this linebacking core. Again, they do run a 4-3, so we're gonna be talking about 3 different dudes and then another 3. Let's get right into it. This is a really good linebacking core. It's kind of simple when you got Fred Warner. But Oren Burks didn't really play last year a lot as a backup, but he's a menace. I mean a menace in the run game. He sets the edge really well, and it's like playing second fiddle to Dre Greenlaw. He isn't gonna force a ton of turnovers, but he also is a pretty good blitzer. He's just a solid player overall. He's like kind of like a good steady backup last year, but he's gonna start now this year. Dre Greenlaw, so here's the thing. His coverage is what you want to look out for, but he is a really good tackler, and he makes a lot of plays. Like, he forces a lot of turnovers, which is big. Not like, though, he's just a smart football player. Doesn't get beat in the run game. Really good at maintaining leverage, stuff like that. It's pretty darn good. Fred Warner, I mean, he's the best linebacker in football. I don't know what else to say. He might not be the most, elite tackler. He's not the most elite tackler, but he's gotten better in run defense, and he's by far the best, a linebacker in pass coverage. You can line him up against slot receivers. You can do stuff with Fred Warner that you can't do with any other linebacker. It's insane. Demetrius Flowers is also decent. He's more of a pass rusher type of specialist here, but he can cover somewhat, I guess. He had that one nice play against the Seahawks, I think, in that divisional round. But the wild card round. Robert Beal Jr. out of Georgia. He was kind of like a backup there, but he's super athletic, and he also, he can really fly down the field. That's kind of why they drafted him. The only issue with him is he's just not very strong for a guy who's 250, and he can't really cover. So, and again, he's just kind of a raw prospect, but he will get some playing time. If Dre Greenlaw can't, say Dre Greenlaw gets hurt, Robert Beal Jr. might not even come in, just for the fact that he just is super raw. Curtis Robinson, he's been a backup here for 2 seasons. He's okay. Plays a lot of special teams. He's kind of average as a backup. Probably don't want him starting, but, it could be worse. This depth is okay. It's not great, but, again, the starters are just pretty darn good. The depth is a little concerning, but I still gotta give them an A-. If they had, again, Oren Burks starting, isn't super ideal, but he's a solid player. But again, the depth isn't great, so I gotta keep them at A-, but you can't ignore the freaking fact that they've got 2 really, really good linebackers. I gotta keep them at A range. You could argue it's even better than that, but it's just the fact they don't have the depth to really support that. Again, if they had, if you had another, solid linebacker, if their depth was better, I'd give them an A+, but the reason they're at an A- is because outside of even maybe Demetrius Flowers, they really don't have a true linebacker outside of those 3 guys. Oren Burks is, he probably shouldn't even be starting, but he is because they don't have anyone else, but The two guys they have there, you don't get much better than that. So I want to give them an A. Just the injury just keeps me from giving that. So that comes out to, what is that? 9, 18, 27, 30 points for this linebacking core. Should I give them an A? I'll give them an A. Screw it. 33 points for that linebacking core. I don't care about the depth. They got two really top 10 linebackers there. Time for this defensive line. Okay, we'll get the pass rush in a second, but the fact that Drake Jackson is getting a start, I like a lot because he showed so many flashes last year, and towards the end of the season, his power display was really hard to stop from any offensive lineman. Even his own, even if you didn't hear Trent Williams did say, it's really hard to stop this dude when he's on. Drake Jackson is a really high potential dude. Don't forget about him there. And as well, Kerry Hyder Jr. is a really good guy to come in there on third down to really, not third, like third and short, like goal line situations. He's a really good run defender. And as well, he's this guy who gets sacks. Obviously, outside of that, I mean, Austin Bryant out of Clemson really hasn't gotten much playing time at all in his career, but he's not terrible. I guess he works there. Alex Barrett, is he a UDFA? No, actually, it's San Diego State. Not going to lie, never heard of this dude. So that could be a little concerning. Cleveland Farrell, they signed in the offseason. He's been a huge bust, but he's a backup. Yeah, like, he's a viable NFL back. Again, Nick Bosa, the best edge rusher in the league after last year, DPOY. Yeah, you're not going to get much better than him. Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, two very, very good interior guys there as well. Javon Kinlaw, basically been a bust so far in his career. Can't stay healthy. He is there. That's what I got there. Kevin Givens, very, very, very underrated dude. He provides so much interior help when, Eric Armstead was just not winning at times. Again, he only had, he didn't play a lot last year, and, again, he filled in for him and played really well. And even Javon Hargrave, who, yeah, he had 11 sacks last year. I do think Kevin Givens will come in and relieve those two. And even then, T.Y. McGill is an underrated dude as well. He played pretty well on special teams, not going to lie there. So that's what I got there, guys. Let's get right. Oh, even Marlon Davidson, who was a former Falcon, is not terrible either. That's what I got there. So this defensive line might not have the same firepower it used to, but it's still got three really good guys and another guy who's supposed to be really good. Again, their depth isn't crazy great, but I still got to give them an A because they've got three of the best guys in that position in the league. You can't get much better than that. Passers will be a different story, but yeah, that's what I got there, guys. Again, depth on the defensive line isn't as much as a biggest deal because the guy, it's D tackle is a position, unless you're just getting absolutely dogged in the run game, they don't have that type of problem there. And even the edge rushers have somewhat, pass rush is different, but they do have the guys who can, worst case, Cleveland Farrell's out there to set the edge. He can at least do that. That's what I got there. 6, it's just not, again, they don't have the depth for me to give them that A+, but it's pretty close. 6, 12, 18, what is that? 22 points for that defensive line. Time for the pass rush. Nick Bosa lines up like a cat, and he gets basically a sack every time. He is the best edge rusher in the league. That just automatically gives him that. Not only that, though, Drake Jackson, Kerry Hyder Jr. are very good compliments off the edge, and as well, Cleveland Farrell, again, at the worst case, he's just out there to set the edge. Not terrible there. But Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead do provide very good pressure up the middle, and Kevin Givens can come in there and do the same thing as well. Again, outside of that 2019 season, he really hasn't been the greatest. Even 2021 wasn't the greatest with overall sack numbers, but he's still getting good pressure, which is huge. He's 29, getting a little older, but they have very good interior pressure, decent depth for pass rush, and the best pass rusher in the league in Nick Bosa. That's kind of what I got there. It's really good. I gotta give them an A+, because again, you got Nick Bosa, and it just doesn't matter. He's just that good. A+, I don't care. That comes out to, what is that? 12, 24, 36. I just went brain dead. 48 points for that pass rush. I mean, I don't like the 49ers pass rush, but it's really good. Time for this cornerback room. Interestingly enough, this 49ers cornerback room, outside of Travarius Ward, who in my opinion is a #1 corner, I got to see him a lot here against the Rams. He's a true #1 corner now. He's really good. Deommodore Lenoir is overrated. He can't do, he can make tackles. I'll give him that. He's pretty good in the flat, but he ain't going to do you much in man. And, in zone, he's okay, I guess. But he's kind of like a low-risk type of player in zone. He's okay, I guess. Ambry Thomas, I had high expectations for him coming out of Michigan. He's not good. That's what I got there. Isaiah Oliver has been a burnt piece of toast most of his career, but he makes plays, I guess. Quinturi Knight is a UDFA at UCLA. He was actually a nickel for them. He works, I guess. And Samuel Womack is not a guy you want to see in the field. Let me put it like that. He can't really tackle. He's decent in coverage, but you throw the ball at him, and it's like an underneath route. Good chance he'll miss the tackle. Outside Travarius Ward, I'm going to be honest, I don't think they have a reliable corner. It's not the end of the world for this cornerback room, but I got to give him a C+, because I'm going to be honest, outside of Travarius Ward, I don't know what else to say. It's meh. they have some depth, but again, none of those guys are really good. Like none of them are. Like Ambry Thomas is really bad. Isaiah Oliver, I mean, he makes plays, but like that's kind of about it. Samuel Womack can't tackle. Diamond Lenore doesn't really do a lot, so I don't know. It's like Travarius Ward's really good, but he does get targeted a lot because he doesn't get targeted as much, but it does hurt that he has to be very good because the other guys won't make plays. He can't make mistakes. 12 points though for that cornerback room, which is just not very good. Time for the safeties. If you didn't know yet, Talanoa Hufanga, in my opinion, I mean, he's not the best safety in the league. That was just for the headline. But yeah, he's pretty close. He's very, very good. He's a monster. He plays like a pit bull. He makes a ton of plays. He does get burned. He's not the most, like, fastest dude. He's not the most athletic. But he's not the most perfect guy at all. But true, straight-up impact, if you lose him, you're losing basically your whole juice of your secondary. Like, without him on the field, you're losing a lot of juice. And Tayshaun Gibson Sr. cannot be nearly as effective without him because, yes, he makes a good amount of tackles, but he's more of a ball hawk type of over-the-head layered safety. Very good player. Doesn't make a ton of mistakes. The only issue I have with him is can't put him in man. He doesn't have a ton of versatility. He's really just that over-top guy who can make a tackle once in a while. But with him having to step up, like, if Talanoa Hufanga is on the field, he's just not going to be the guy who's going to be that type of playmaker that Talanoa Hufanga is. Yeah, he makes a lot of interceptions, but that's because he knows Talanoa is who the defense is, who has to look out for. And again, pass rush ups a lot. I don't think, again, he really is a system type of safety for me, but when he's in the right system, he executes better than basically any other guy in the league because with Talanoa Hufanga, they're that, like, again, that mutualistic relationship. Talanoa Hufanga, again, same thing if Tayshaun Gibson Sr. is in there, Talanoa Hufanga has to play just not as well, and he's not even nearly as effective because he knows Ajari Brown isn't going to be the same type of cover guy. And even then, George Odom, he's a solid guy. Again, a really solid backup. He works, I guess. He makes plays. Yeah, that's kind of what I got there. And then as for Jerry Brown, again, the third-round pick at Penn State, he really wasn't great, I'm going to be honest, as good as he was in 2021 coverage, but he's more that box type of guy. He isn't bad. I like him, but he just the covers. Like, they don't have a man safety. I mean, Talanoa Hufanga maybe, but even then, like, they don't have a really great safety. Miles Hartfield played a lot last year, was actually a starter for the Panthers last year. Pretty bad in coverage, missed a lot of tackles, but he started because, not going to lie, they really had no one else there. Justin Burris, I guess, but he's even worse, so, not going to lie. This safety room is really relying on these two, but the depth is okay. But it's definitely a high-risk, high-reward system there. But the two guys they have starting are really good. For that reason, I got to give him an A-. But, again, Talanoa Hufanga could get hurt. And Tayshaun Gibson Sr. is a system safety at this point. I'm not going to lie. But he's still a very, very good player in that system. Because, again, really just an over-top safety. Just doesn't, one high, doesn't let anything get past him. That's kind of what I got there, guys. It's a pretty good group, though. 9, 18, 27, 30 points for that safety room. Let's look at this defense's overall grade. It's probably going to be pretty good. And it's an A. Their defense is really good. I get the fact that, again, they have a different defensive coordinator, and yeah, they still have a lot of superstars. The depth might not be as good in the they still have, but again, they still have the core players. And the fact that, again, they were, like, by far, in my opinion, the best defense in the league last year. They're going to figure it out. I got to give them an A because they've got 3 of the best defensive players in football on their team, and you just can't ignore that. So I got to give them an A. Like, they've got such a good defense. A is what I got to give them. Time for the special teams unit. First off, of course, they drafted Jake Moody in the 3rd round. I mean, he's a good kicker, but that's a little high, not going to lie. But he was ridiculous. By far the best kicker in football. Mitch Wisnowski's been their punter for a while. Honestly, a little overrated, but he's good. Got a pretty big leg. Ray McLeod, very solid returner. And Tabor Pepper is a long snapper. That's all I know about him. Not going to lie there. So, yeah, that's what I got for that special teams unit. B+, I mean, Ray McLeod isn't the best returner in the league. Jake Moody should be the best kicker outside of Justin Tucker because they drafted him in the 3rd round. And Mitch Wisnowski's a good punter. And, Tabor Pepper's a decent long snapper, so B+, yeah, pretty good special teams unit. 3-6, what is that, 9, once that special teams unit. Time for looking at this 49ers depth. Okay, team depth, quarterback depth, I mean, you don't have to worry, all 3 of them worst, I guarantee they're not going to run out of quarterbacks this year, so that's probably going to be like an A. I mean, you don't find another team with that many type of guys. Running back depth, B+, I think, yeah, again, Tyron Davis-Price is just not great, so probably going in the B, A range if they have those. Again, Elijah Mitchell's the #1 back. Even Jordan Mason, I wouldn't be mad if he had to start. In wide receiver, probably a B. I mean, it's good depth, not great, but it works. You need to have guys there. Tight end depth, probably a C+. Meh. Offensive line depth, C. Really decent. I mean, it's decent, but it's not great. Overall offensive depth, I'm probably gonna give it like a B minus, or a B. It's one of those two. It's decent. Linebacker depth, C+. It's not terrible. You know, I'll give it a C. Defensive line depth, B minus. I think it's better than people give it credit for, though. Pass rush depth, C+. Not great, but with what they've got, it's solid. Quarterback depth, C, because they've got guys who are experienced. They're just not very good. Safety depth, C minus maybe. So look at this defense depth. They're a little thin, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I gotta give them probably a B minus. Not gonna lie. So this overall team depth, I'll give them a B minus. The Niners have good depth, but there are positions like part of their team that are a little thinner than others. So yeah, B minus when it comes out to okay, 12, 24, 28 points for the depth. Time for the overall identity. Steve Wilkes coming in as a DC will present. I'll just talk about the defense first. Their identity is going to present a more physical aspect for their defense. He's going to expect them to hit hard like Talanoa and Hufanga. And as well, I do think Tayshaun Gibson-Senior is going to be asked to do a little more hitting than he's used to. And as well, these guys will want to knock your heads off. And as well, I think these cornerbacks will be a little more aggressive, which could hurt them in the long run. But again, you saw the way that Carolina defense played at the end of the year. It was really cool to watch. So, gonna be honest, their identity on defense is gonna be a little different than we're used to seeing with D'Amico Ryans, which is more of like a zone B scheme, relying on a lot of guys. Instead, Steve Wilkes is trying to get the stars, obviously, to make the biggest plays, but as well having the other guys, like not having to totally rely on those guys as well. So I do like what their defense is doing. Offensively, same old, same old. The only difference is that I do think Kyle Shanahan's gonna have to scheme up better at points last year where he can't make a mistake on one player or another, because if he does, it could cost him in the long run. But either way, their offense is going to be same old, same old. I think they've got a pretty good identity. It's just the fact I don't know how their defense is going to totally adjust to not force as many turnovers, because Steve Wilkes is more about stopping the run, which I do think they could have done a little better job last year. But still going to give them a B+. They got a really good identity. It's same old again. Really good continuity. 45 points for the 49ers identity. Let's get right into their overall roster grade. The Niners roster grade comes out to an A- at 345 points. And really, gonna be honest, I gotta give them the A-. Here's why. The difference between the Eagles roster and the Niners roster is the Eagles, I'm gonna be honest, I think the Niners roster, you could argue, pound for pound, is better. The difference is quarterback. I mean, if they had a better quarterback, they'd probably have an A+ roster, not gonna lie, because they've got some really good players at every position. I'm not even kidding. Go through hand in every position. Quarterback, other than quarterback, running back, one of the best in the league. Wide receiver, two really arguable top 15 players overall. Tight end, second in the league. Tackle, number 1 in the league. Linebacker, Fred Warner. Defensive line, like, they've got 3 guys on their team that are number 1 players in the league, and then they have elite guys at other positions. Like, there's not another team in the league that has that many elite players, but quarterback. That's what I gotta say there. That's why I gotta give them that A-. But I do think the roster is probably pound for pound better than the Eagles if they had Jalen Hurts. If they had Jalen Hurts, they'd probably win the Super Bowl every year. Not gonna lie. So A-, what I got to give them for there. That's all I got here, guys. Thank God I give them A-. Hope they get hurt this year. No, I'm joking. No team should get hurt. But thank God we got to get through the 49ers. Now I'll get to my favorite team. Yup. See you, Niners. 345 total points for you fans. I don't even care. A-. See you in the next one, guys. Yup. It's an spoiler right now. Rams roster grades. Here's a Matt Stafford bomb.
Sack, batted ball. And now 3rd and 16. Pressure coming again. Stafford nowhere to go. Now just firing it down the field. He's got a man down there, and it's caught. Hall has it. Marvin Hall shoved out of bounds inside the 10. Wow, that play looked like it was headed for disaster again. And instead, for the Lions, it's a 73-yard play.
Pressure.